Hello, hello, Heather. Happy Monday.
Hello. How was your weekend, Michelle?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So I went to this conference called Human Interaction Technology and I got certified in it. And it is intense. We would start about 9 in the morning every day, starting on Thursday, and end around 11 to midnight each night, with truly just like about 45 minutes for lunch and dinner. But oh my gosh, it has me so charged up and it really brings home how important it is the way that we speak to ourselves.
That sounds like quite an intense weekend.
It was, but it was so good. And I'm just so excited to be able to share this stuff and be certified in it and help other people with this. I mean, and that was kind of the angel message of the morning, too, that I was just feeling is like, oh my goodness, we talk to ourselves so much, right? All day long from the minute the alarm clock goes off to, oh, I don't want to do this, time to get up, whatever, on and on and on. And it's literally about just giving ourselves the validation and the praise and all of these things that we need, the confidence to start moving through life to truly create the life that we love. And there's a saying, I think it's something like words create worlds, and they do. So the way that you talk to yourself creates your emotion, your outcome, and what you're going to experience that day.
I love that. Thanks, Michelle. Did you have any other big takeaways from the weekend?
Only about 500 more. Yeah. I mean, there were like, it was like trying to drink out of a fire hose. You're just like, oh my gosh, there's so much goodness here. One of the things that I loved is this kind of idea that people work perfectly. So I want everyone to really think about this today and this week, and maybe even the month of December, as we're moving through our life. And again, holiday season, a lot of people having to see the family they only see once a year and things like that. When we start to look at everyone, they are actually working perfectly in their life. They really are. They're working perfectly for the outcome that they're getting. So if they want to be an unhappy person, they are walking around finding a million reasons to be unhappy, right? Or if they want to be challenging, all of these things. So when you start to look at people, and I love that because it kind of goes along with my sea analogy, souls having a human experience, everyone's seeing life through their lens, right? There's nothing wrong. Nobody's broken. No one needs fixed. It's just like, oh, this works for them. But in that, there's so much beauty because we are able as humans, and this really happened for me with my third NDE, to release judgment. Like I look at people with curiosity now, not good, bad, or I can't believe this or that, but it's kind of like, oh, what is their soul plan here? How does this work in their life? What does their soul want to learn from it? And the minute that we can move to a space of curiosity versus judgment, the whole world, the whole universe opens up with new possibilities for us.
I love that. One of my favorite things is truly getting to know someone. And then the more you get to know them, the better you understand them. And may something that like you might judge them for, be like, why are they acting that way? And the more you get to know them, you start to understand, oh, I see why they show up this certain way in the world. And people are fascinating. They've been through amazing things, hard things. And when you really get to know someone, you can see like all the crazy things that they've been through.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody has a story, right? Our souls chose to be here to create this story, have these experiences, these lessons that we're wanting to learn, and also to play in the magic of life, which is something that most of us do not allow ourselves to do or we forget to do. So, just kind of for everybody out there today, give yourself the opportunity to go play. It doesn't mean that it has to be expensive and crazy, but if it can be, awesome, enjoy that. And if not, go enjoy sitting in the sun, go for the walk, go watch your favorite comedy. But we've got to give ourselves that opportunity to laugh, because laughter is literally the fastest way to raise your vibration. So it doesn't mean you have to book the comedy club tonight, but look at a joke that reminded you of something or a funny memory, because it raises our vibration really quickly.
Thanks, Michelle. I love that. Well, should we get started with our questions? We have quite a few in the chat already.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get going. Our first question is, will I be successful with the multiple upcoming court hearings I am facing with my ex, especially the one regarding my children?
Yeah. So what I am seeing for that is I want to say it's still going to be a bumpy road. So successful, what I'm feeling is not going to be like 100% all you in all of these situations, right? But what I want to tell you is they're giving me the number more like 75 to 80%. So that tells me you're going to get 75 to 80% of what you want. And same thing in connection with the kids. I do feel like that's going to have, there's something about, I want to say your guides, their angels are really putting a protective bubble around the kids and around that situation so that it's really going to move in the direction that you're wanting.
Thanks, Michelle, and wish you the best of luck in court. I mean, that's not an easy thing at all.
No.
Our next question. My husband recently died, and I had quite an energetic experience last night. Would you please ask my guides to explain it to me, wanting to understand or confirm what I think happened? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even going with your guides because I just feel your husband's energy on this. So I'm gonna kind of start with him. He is so strong at wanting to let you know that he is still here and still with you and still walking with you. So this experience that you had last night, honestly, it's so funny because he's showing me fireworks. So it would have been like the boom, the aha moment. And this is exactly what he's creating. Your soul and his have been connected for many lifetimes. And so a lot of times our loved ones come to us in our sleep because our conscious mind isn't there to judge it and turn it off and say, this couldn't be happening to me. And so he's showing me what looks like a giant doorway. And that was his doorway to walk in and connect with you. So I want to validate that for you. Trust your gut on this. What you're thinking happened or what you're feeling like the meaning was 100%. That's accurate.
Thanks, Michelle. Our next question. Will the career upgrade we are hoping for happen for our family? And what will happen with my mother's health? Thank you so much.
Yeah. So the career feels like a yes, but they're putting me in springtime. So either you start to facilitate it in springtime or that's when it starts getting traction. I'm literally getting April, May. So I want to put that energy on it. Your mother's health is interesting, the feeling of it right now, because I want to say I feel like she's teetering, but not in a way of like teetering on life and death. Let me be very clear with this, but teetering between choosing health, consciousness, alignment over do I want this to be my path? So it almost feels like a soul level decision to me. And the way to help your mom best with this is for her to literally get in alignment with what she wants, what she believes is possible for her, and then take the necessary steps. Because I'm getting words like, I want to say whatever she's dealing with. I want to use words like chronic, not necessarily terminal, things like this, where we can take challenges in our life and we can turn them into not a terminal thing when we're talking about health, but something that is maybe more chronic or we're able to manage in a different way. But this is really about okay. So they're wanting me to say going back to like junior high for her, there's something that happens with a trust issue with your mom. I don't know what this is, but it feels like it would have been more related to the family. So I want to say that. And part of this that she's going through right now is learning to trust herself. So learning to trust that she is capable of healing, capable of being happy through the bumps in the road and things like that. So that's kind of the root of the energy of what's showing up in her life.
I love watching spirit communicate with you, Michelle. Like, oh wait, yeah, okay.
I'm usually doing that in my head, but not out loud. And every once in a while it slips out.
No, I loved it. I love watching you do it. Our next question. Why did my friend Jack, real name John, unalive himself back in 2012?
Yeah. So that's a great question. I'm going to start with the wording on that. We can't unalive. We can unhuman, but we can't unalive because our souls are eternal. So I want to say that. I want to go to false belief system. Okay. And this is something that I truly believe everyone who transitions from suicide is facing. And I believe it's even true for Gary, like this to me, we're telling ourselves stories that aren't true. I'm unworthy. I'm unlovable. I'm a failure. I'll never get it right. So this is not the truth of our soul. By the way, you can't fail life. So I want to say that. But the energy with him is that he was just low. I mean, but he tells me this had been going on for at least 6 months. So I want to say that it might have even been, it's so interesting because it's there for a while. Like he's always kind of up and down and then it just drops. I just feel that like jumping off the cliff energy. But that actually starts about 6 months before he transitions, is what he's saying. So for him, there was just a lot of weight and a lot of story about that he was a failure and he was never going to be able to get it right. Remember, kind of what we started with today, no one talks to us more than we talk to ourselves. And so I don't necessarily feel that the way that he's showing it to me, that was the story that everyone in his life was telling him, because I don't feel that at all. I feel like that was the story he was telling himself.
Thanks, Michelle. Our next question. I was sitting in bed one evening and crystal clear, I heard a church bell in my left ear. What was that?
Yeah, I love that. To me, it has a very angelic feeling around it. So I feel like it was your angels being like, we're here, we're aware, we're working with you, talk to us, kind of that type of energy. So spirit world will use noises. Like we'll hear, sometimes I hear wind chimes there, and I'm looking around, there are no wind chimes. It's just like spirit wanting to get my attention for whatever reason. And that's kind of what I will tell you. When we talk about, so notice the wording on that church bell, right? It's literally then what most humans associate with that heavenly realm, because we think we're going to go to church, so we go to heaven, or whatever that idea is, right? And that's why it has more of an angelic feeling to me than somebody who's in the family.
Thanks, Michelle. Our next question. Since October, on my home cameras, objects that look like white orbs appear and has increased greatly over the past 2 months, along with the speed of movement. Some also look medallion-like. What are these?
Yeah, so they are orbs. So they're energy, right? And when I say energy, I want you to think about souls, because our soul is energy that's going to be eternal. It just changes forms. We go from ice in the human form to flowing water when we get to leave this body. And so that's part of it. I do want to say there feels like there's a couple of loved ones in there. But the other thing is, this also feels like it has a really strong angelic presence. I love that you're noticing that they're speeding up, because the speeding up is actually what's happening to you and all of us right now on this planet and on this timeline. So time is going to speed up a little bit because we're accelerating into the next era. And I just mean that like more spiritually than anything else. And so I feel like for you, this is the visual telling you where you are and where you're going. Not meaning you're going to heaven, let me be very clear, but your abilities connect. I know I'm always like, wait, let me add this disclaimer. Your abilities to connect and create the future that you want, we're speeding up. We're in a little bit of a time warp right now, you guys. It's never been more important to know what you want and who you are, like in all of humanity, in all of history, than it is now. So this is the time where we have to dive deep. And if you don't know what you want and what you want to create, that's okay too. Start making a list of everything you don't want to do. I don't want to do this job. I don't want to be this person. Because our don'ts actually point us to what we want.
Thanks, Michelle. So when you say time is speeding up, are you talking about like the time here, like our actual physical time, or our souls are accelerating and growing at a faster rate? Like which time are you referring to?
Yeah, I'm referring to both, because we're souls having this human experience. So as time on earth is kind of going faster, our souls are able to learn more in this process, right? And so what's also happening with that is that we're getting ready again to step into a new era. So things are going to be shifting in our world. I'm not telling people this to be afraid. I'm not afraid. It's going to be okay. But things are getting ready to shift to the next level of consciousness. And that's why we're seeing some turmoil. And that's why we're seeing politics doing what they're doing, and on and on and on. But just remember, there's a higher picture and a higher plan. Every one of our souls chose to be here during this time. And so although you're like wondering why you would have chosen that, the answer is you chose to come to earth to hold the light for us to evolve. So what you're going to find is it's just going to feel like time goes fast. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, how is it already 3:00? It was just 9:00 in the morning. Things like that are going to kind of move forward quickly at least over the next 4 to 6 weeks is what the angels are saying, to almost like kind of get us in pace for what 2026 is going to bring.
Thanks, Michelle. I know we're all curious to see what 2026 is going to bring.
And I love that word curious though, because some people are fearful. I don't want people to be fearful, because when we're standing in fear, we're literally giving away our power. So it is so much better to go into it neutral. Well, we'll see, or excited. You know what I mean? But don't be in fear, because that's not the energy we want to live in.
Thanks, Michelle. Next question. What patterns or emotional wounds am I being guided to break in my family line? And how can I move through them with compassion rather than carrying them?
Yeah. So this is going to be really clear, because they're giving me the number 2. There are 2 that you came to break, but it feels like one of them is already in progress. The other one is something about, it might be self-worth, because they're taking me like deep inside myself. Right. And with that energy, it's about being like, okay, mom didn't feel worthy. Grandma didn't feel worthy. Kind of, I want to go into your female lineage on this and really allowing that wound to heal. Now, when we're talking about ancestral healing, a lot of times people want to overcomplicate it. Here's the thing: as you're healing this wound in your life, and you're changing how you're living and how you show up in this world, heavenly realm is receiving healing from that, as well as the ancestral line. So, if you want to have all these beautiful ceremonies and send it down, back generations and all of that, we can do that. But please know that's like a ritual and a human side of seeing it. We like our ceremonies, and that's okay. But the healing for everyone who didn't get to experience that in human form is happening for them as you're doing it in this lifetime, because they're still learning, growing, and connected to us.
Thanks, Michelle. Next question. I am ready to change jobs in the next 6 months. Which direction should I go?
Okay, so that is a wide open question. And here's the thing: when you say that, I would rather you give me, this is what I'm going to tell you, whoever you are. I want you to think of option A or B, so your top 2 choices. And I'll give you a second to think about that. But the story around this is like, if someone comes to me and it's like, oh, clearly you're here to be a healer. Okay, well, that could be a massage therapist all the way up to a neurosurgeon and everything in between. So our soul, it usually has options of how we're going to do what it is that we're meant to do. Now, going back to what you were thinking, choice A or B, or kind of like that energy, I'm feeling B for you. So whatever that was, that's where you're meant to put your energy in going forward.
Thanks, Michelle. Next question. A few years ago, I made a trip to Hawaii. When I got off the plane, it felt like I was home. It was very calm. My wife says I'm an old soul. Can you please explain about old souls?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, this is clearly one of my people, because I love Hawaii and my goal is to have a second home there someday. I know how you feel. Like, you just took me right there in my mind. So thank you for that. So when we talk about old souls, my understanding from spirit world is that, and this is kind of fun actually to talk about. So there is like still a God, source, divine, whatever our word is for the higher power. And the energy around it is that this soul is almost like spoken into creation. Okay. So whatever this is, the creation begins, and there you are, right? With each of us on our souls, there is a word that is spoken in. Now, when we can realize what this is, it's not that we can't be kind and loving and all of this stuff, but let's just say loving is the word that's almost like spoken into your soul. And I'm using words, but that's downplaying it. It's more energetic and telepathic. Okay. It doesn't mean that you can't be kind and all these other things, but these are like add-on energies to the main quality of your soul. So for me, and I've done this through a lot of like just doing what I do, like the quality that was written on my soul or spoken into my soul is light. So whenever I use light, meaning clarity, light to focus on what's coming through in my life or a challenge or a situation, I'm going to solve it a lot easier. And so think about that. So now back to the old soul thing, there are souls that have been around a lot longer than other souls. Legitimately, like they have had 100,000 incarnations versus 10,000, right? And so when we're looking at it like that, when we say someone's an old soul, the truth is they're carrying wisdoms of lifetime within their soul, even if they're showing up here on planet Earth for the first time. right? And I would say this, that with that, there is, we call it time, or we put, these dates on it in our human form, but there's almost more, the word I would use if I'm talking about this spiritually is enlightenment and expansion. So an old soul to me would almost have a brighter light and more expansion than a new soul. Not that anything's wrong, but it's like, look at an Olympic athlete run versus a 2-year-old who's learning to walk, right? They're both doing great and deserve the gold medal for them, but they're at different levels, and that's part of the old soul energy.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. I was thinking too, like the word wisdom came to mind when you talk about old soul, like a lot of wisdom, life experience. Like when we look to our elders, they've been around a long time. They know more, or they've seen a lot of things and experienced a lot of different lifetimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, our next question. Is the relationship I am in right now for my highest good? If so, when do you see me getting engaged and married to the partner I am dating currently?
Yeah. So I do want to say that it does feel good. And so with that, I'm going to say, like, you're 80% of where you want to be. So that feels good to me. The engagement most likely would happen next year, because I'm feeling like it happens in 2026. And I want to say wedding in 2027.
Thanks, Michelle. Next question from Leanne. Is there money coming my way soon?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's start with another question. Would you like money coming your way soon? Okay. So again, words, right? They create worlds. So I want you to start affirming there is abundance in this world. The answer is yes, but we've got to tune into the channel of abundance, not scarcity. Just like when I talk to people and I say, tune into the presence of your loved ones, not the absence of them, right? Because that's how we connect more and get the signs. So I want you to start tuning into the channel of abundance. So here in Arizona, I can look out in my front yard and be like, oh, there are a lot of rocks out there. There are an abundance of rocks, right? There are an abundance of blades of grass. It doesn't mean that I actually have to have $5 million in my bank account, but I'm starting to tune into the energy of abundance. If you park at the far back of the parking lot and you have to walk a long way, I'm taking an abundance of steps, right? Start tuning into abundance in your daily life, because what that does is that brings in the energy of abundance into your life more quickly, because you're on the channel now.
Thanks, Michelle. Next question. Hey, Michelle, do you see me making it to any of my dream MBA colleges in 2026?
Yeah, I'm getting yes. So I feel like you're going to do that. And congratulations in advance, because it feels like it's already done.
That's exciting. Next question. Hello. Are there any messages from my brother-in-law, David, who passed away July 2001?
Yeah. So he's got this real laid back energy. I feel like I'm going to be like, sup, I'm here. There's like this like laid back energy around him. He's kind of everybody's best friend is what I'm feeling with him. For him, there's kind of this, like, I want to just be like, everybody knows I'm still here. So people, again, he's also saying, thank you for keeping me, active in the conversation, right? So talking out loud to him, or talking in your head, talking about him at Christmas or whatever these things are. He's telling me that people keep him very active. And so he's very pleased with that and grateful for that. And he's just saying for you, he says, pay attention to the birds, because he's going to be sending either blue jays or cardinals or bright colored birds feathers. This is the energy of like hello and kisses from heaven. So yeah, he's also showing me something with the TV. So it's either going to come on by itself, or it's going to do like some interesting electronic things to get your attention.
Thanks, Michelle. Next question. About a year before my wife passed, I was seeing angel numbers 111, 222, etc. Now that my wife has crossed over, I see less numbers. Was spirit trying to let me know what was going to happen?
Yeah. So what I would say with that is that spirit was wanting you to feel supported on the journey that you were beginning on, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that they were telling you or trying to warn you that this was going to happen, but it means that they wanted you to feel the love and support of that heavenly realm. So let's talk about this for like a moment. because we have soul plans before we come into planet Earth, we build in exit points. We have options of times that we can leave. It could be the near miss car accident, it could be cancer, it could be right on and on and on. So we have exit points that we bring in. Our soul knows about those exit points. And if you're in a soul contract with someone, meaning, and I don't love the word contract, we'll say agreement. If you're in a soul agreement with someone and they're part of your life, especially if we're talking like spouses or parent to children, our soul knows these exit points and knows when that soul is most likely to leave. So even though our humanness isn't receiving that information necessarily, our soul knows. And a lot of times we'll use like the word premonition, like, oh, I just had a feeling my mom wasn't going to make it through the year. Right? And we don't actually know why, but it's because it's our soul talking to us. So yes, those angel numbers were there to support you, but not because they were there to warn you, because there was nothing that you could have done to change the outcome. So I need to say that to you very clearly. It was that they were there for you to feel their love, support, and guidance, knowing what you were getting ready to head into.
Thanks, Michelle. The next question. It has taken me all year to turn around what my sister and brother did to me at the time of my mother's death. It was not about forgiving them. It was about forgiving myself for trusting them.
Okay. So do you have to forgive yourself for trusting people? I mean, that's an interesting way to look at it. I think that that's actually a beautiful gift, that when we trust people. So I don't actually want to use the word forgiveness here, because I don't think there's anything to forgive. I think there's understanding and comprehension, the guides are saying, around this situation, right? So let's change the energy on that. They're really not wanting you. When we can sit in victim mode with words, and this is really important for you to notice. So this is about saying, I have clarity now, not I forgive myself for trusting them, right? We don't ever need to forgive ourselves for trusting someone, but we have clarity now. And so feel the difference in the energy between that. One is work and heavy, and I forgive myself, I made a terrible mistake. And one is, oh, I have clarity on who these people are in my life, and I realize that they no longer have a place in it. So one's much more empowering. And your guides are just saying, this situation was always meant to empower you. And when you're not seeing it in that way, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Thanks, Michelle. Our next question. Would you have a message for me from my brothers?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. It's interesting because I want to say something to you also right after this last one about trusting yourself. And that's what your brothers are coming through with. So, well, whether it was because of the way they transitioned or not having all of the answers, none of us have all of it, but I mean specifically in a family situation is the energy they're giving me. Trust yourself as you're moving forward, right? We've got to learn to do this, and they are really wanting that for you. As well as they're giving me sounds like bells ringing, doorbells, things like that. They're going to probably do something where they play with your doorbell, or you're going to hear the microwave beep and no one's in the kitchen. But there's like that type of sound that I'm hearing, because I feel like they want you laughing and they want you to realize they are playfully still connected to you.
Thanks, Michelle. Next question. Scientists have said that the chances of a megalodon shark living today in our oceans is slim to none. Do you see one of these sharks being alive today in our oceans?
So I was like listening to the guides, and they're like, absolutely, it's possible, not likely, but it's possible, right? So the energy is not at this time. That's what the guides are saying. But the minute that we shut the door on it, we are limiting the reality of what exists in our world, right? So they're almost saying to you, not at this time would we be able to find one in the ocean, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to reemerge or reoccur. We don't have to know the how and why. Just know that heaven's always working in their way.
Thanks, Michelle. Next question. Hi, Michelle. Are my guides able to advise whether the car I'm waiting for from the dealership is right for me and whether it will serve me right for years to come? You haven't had a couple questions before.
Yeah, why not? I'm getting 2 thumbs up on that. So I want to say it is the right car. You might end up waiting a little bit longer than you're expecting, because I want to add another like week or 2 delay in there for whatever reason, the holidays or who knows. But I feel like this is the right fit for you.
All right. And our last question for today is, How can we protect our energy if someone wants to harness our energy without us knowing?
Yeah. So that's a great question. I love that. So people can't harness your energy without you giving them permission to do so. The easiest way people harness your energy is they drag you down, or they need you to fix their problems, or their whatever it is. Now, listen, as Heather and I both know, people go through critical situations in their life. Like Heather, Devin, I had friends that literally carried me through Gary's passing. So it's not that we're not be able to do that, but usually people are not harnessing our energy in this like woo woo hocus pocus type way. It's how we're allowing them to harness our energy. And that's where your angels are coming really strongly in and saying to you, what boundaries do you need to put in your life? Because if it's not that they harness your energy, it's that you gave it away. And sometimes we just have to have the awareness of that.
Good question. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and thank you for writing in your questions. And please remember to like the channel and support us.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you, everyone. I love joining in with people and just getting to go through these questions real quickly. And I hope you all have a beautiful week ahead. Take care.